What if the next big AI leap isn't a new model, but a new kind of machine that feeds every model? Because at CES 2026, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang unveiled Rubin, a 6-chip AI platform NVIDIA says is already in full production. And by the end of this video, you'll understand what Rubin actually is, why AI factories are the new battlefield, and the uncomfortable constraint nobody can scale past forever: power, memory, and movement. Here's the weird part. Rubin isn't being pitched as just a faster GPU. It's being pitched as a whole meta platform: CPU, GPU, networking, security, even storage, designed like one organism. And that design choice quietly explains where AI is heading next. Right now, AI isn't just answering questions. It's turning into agentic AI, meaning systems that can plan, take actions, and keep working across long tasks. And that changes the shape of computing demand, because long tasks mean long memory, and long memory means a ton of data moving through hardware that was already at its limits. NVIDIA described this moment as a modernization wave, accelerated computing and AI reshaping what data centers even are. So Rubin shows up at CES with a clear message. The bottleneck isn't only math anymore, it's everything around the math. So let's break it down like a movie. What happened? How Rubin works? Who it changes things for? And what it might cost us. At CES 2026, NVIDIA announced the Rubin platform as the successor to Blackwell, and said Rubin is now in full production. NVIDIA also said Rubin-based products from partners are expected in the second half of 2026. And the headline detail is this: Rubin is a 6-chip platform designed to operate together as one AI supercomputer. In NVIDIA's own breakdown, those 6 pieces span compute and the plumbing around it, including the Vera CPU, the Rubin GPU, NVLink 6, ConnectX-9 networking, Bluefield 4 DPUs, and Spectrum 6 Ethernet. That list sounds like hardware soup, but it's actually the plot. Because NVIDIA isn't describing a single chip upgrade. They're describing an upgrade to the unit of computing, from a server to a rack-scale machine to a full data center scale factory. But that still doesn't answer the question that matters. What does Rubin actually do that the last generation couldn't? Let's define a few terms fast. No textbook pain. First, a transformer is basically a pattern finder that pays attention to what matters most. Second, inference is when a trained model generates outputs, the moment you actually use it. And third, the KV cache, key value cache, is like the model's short-term scratch pad, so it doesn't rethink every token from zero. Now, NVIDIA's claim with Rubin is that it's built for this new era where models reason longer and run continuously. So Rubin isn't only chasing peak speed, it's chasing sustained throughput. How many useful tokens you can produce per watt, per dollar, per day, without the whole system choking on its own data movement. At the center is the Rubin GPU. In NVIDIA's technical write-up, Rubin's NVFP for inference compute is listed at 50 petaflops. And NVIDIA compares that to Blackwell's 10 petaflops in the same table. That's the clean 5x story people are quoting, because it's literally 50 versus 10 in NVIDIA's published comparison. Training gets a similar jump in that same chart. NVIDIA lists FP8 training at 17.5 petaflops on Rubin versus 5 on Blackwell. That's a 3.5x ratio, once again, straight from NVIDIA's own table. But the GPU is only one character, because scaling AI isn't just more compute. It's compute plus memory bandwidth plus interconnect, the highways between chips. That's where NVLink 6 enters the story. NVIDIA says NVLink 6 provides 3.6 terabytes per second of GPU to GPU bandwidth per GPU, and that the NVL72 rack reaches 260 terabytes per second of bandwidth. In plain English, it's trying to make 72 GPUs behave less like 72 separate computers, and more like one coordinated machine. And then there's the Vera CPU, the other half people ignore until everything breaks. NVIDIA says Vera is built with 88 custom Olympus cores and RMV 9.2 compatibility, and it's positioned for data movement and agentic reasoning workloads. Think of the CPU here as the traffic controller, keeping the GPUs fed, keeping tasks scheduled, keeping the system coherent. Finally, security and infrastructure show up as first-class citizens. NVIDIA says the Rubin rack-scale platform supports confidential computing across CPU, GPU, and NVLink domains, meant to protect models and data while running at scale. That's a strong signal that multi-tenant AI, shared, rented, always on, is becoming the default. But that's not even the most important bottleneck Rubin is targeting, because the real villain is something way less glamorous than a GPU. Let's talk about the thing that quietly decides whether your AI app feels magical or broken. Memory. As models process longer conversations, longer documents, and longer tool-using sessions, the KV cache grows. And if that cache can't fit, you either slow down, spend more, or cut context, which is basically like making your smart system forget what it's doing mid-task. At CES, NVIDIA introduced what it calls an AI-native KV cache storage tier, the NVIDIA Inference Context Memory Storage Platform. NVIDIA frames it as a way to share and reuse KV cache data across infrastructure, so long context inference scales more predictably. And NVIDIA's own CES blog claims this approach can deliver 5 times higher tokens per second, 5 times better performance per TCO dollar, and 5 times better power efficiency for long context inference, what's according to NVIDIA's description of that platform. Now zoom out. NVIDIA also claims Rubin can reduce inference token cost by up to 10 times compared with Blackwell, and train mixture of experts models with 4 times fewer GPUs. Quick definition: mixture of experts, MOE, is like having a team of specialist mini-models and routing each token to the right specialist. MOE can be powerful, but it's brutal on communication and coordination. So, who uses this first? NVIDIA lists major cloud and AI players as expected adopters, including AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft, Oracle, OpenAI, and Anthropic. That matters because most people won't buy a Rubin. They'll rent it as an API inside products they already use every day. And Rubin isn't just about chatbots. In 2025, NVIDIA highlighted 2 flagship scientific systems planning around Vera Rubin: Blue Lion in Germany and Dudna at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. LRZ, the Leibniz Supercomputing Center, said Blue Lion is planned to go into operation in 2027 and is based on NVIDIA's Vera Rubin architecture. And NVIDIA described Dudna as a system set to launch in 2026 at Berkeley Lab, powered by Dell infrastructure with the NVIDIA Vera Rubin architecture. So if you're a student, a developer, or a small business, what changes? It may become normal for AI to mean systems that don't just answer. They remember, plan, and operate across time, because the infrastructure becomes better at handling long context and constant workloads. And it may become cheaper to deploy higher quality inference at scale if NVIDIA's token cost claims hold up in real deployments. But there's a trade hiding inside all of this, and it's bigger than NVIDIA. Even if Rubin is efficient, the world trend is still clear. AI requires massive infrastructure. TechCrunch reported Jensen Huang estimated $3 trillion to $4 trillion could be spent on AI infrastructure by the end of the decade, and described the boom as placing immense strain on power grids. So the risk isn't only more powerful AI, it's what happens when every company tries to build an always-on intelligence factory at the same time. There's a technical risk too: concentration. When one hardware ecosystem dominates, it can create lock-in, where models, tools, and budgets orbit one vendor's roadmap. And there's a human risk: over-reliance, treating agentic systems like they're always correct, when they can still hallucinate, misinterpret, and fail silently. What's the mitigation? Keep it practical. On the infrastructure side, confidential computing and stronger isolation can reduce the risk of data leakage in shared environments. And NVIDIA explicitly positions confidential computing as part of the Rubin rack-scale platform. On the human side, the best defense is boring but real: audits, monitoring, human-in-the-loop approvals for high-impact actions, and clear failure modes when agents aren't sure. So, is Rubin the future of AI? Not exactly. It's something more revealing. It's the future of how AI gets produced. NVIDIA openly frames Rubin as an annual cadence of AI supercomputer generations. That suggests the next few years won't be defined only by smarter models, but by faster industrial cycles that turn power and silicon into tokens, non-stop. There are at least 2 plausible directions from here. 1, AI becomes cheaper and more available, and agentic features spread into everyday software: writing, design, customer support, even personal devices, because inference throughput keeps climbing. 2, power and deployment constraints become the hard ceiling, pushing the industry toward efficiency, better scheduling, better caching, and more specialized workloads, not just bigger models. Either way, Rubin is a message in hardware form. The next frontier isn't only intelligence, it's infrastructure. The quiet machinery that decides who gets to scale and who gets left behind. So the open loop from the start? The twist is that AI progress is starting to look less like a single breakthrough and more like a supply chain of compute, memory, networking, and power. Rubin is NVIDIA's bet that the winning model won't just be the smartest, it'll be the one that can afford to think longer, remember more, and run constantly. What do you think matters more in the next wave? Bigger models or better AI factories? That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.